Greetings. I'm John O'Toole again. Just doing a little mini bloggy stuff. So I got a little secret. So if you're a fan of the Christmas Story, which I hope you are, you will get the joke. It's Fragile. It must be from Italy. Now, in the story, as you remember, there was a comment about this boot lamp or leg lamp that was shipped. It was all in glass and it had a lampshade on it. Anyway, on the other side of the box it said fragile, but the father of the families called it Fragile. Must be from Italy. You can use that joke if you want to. So, I really haven't talked much about this. A long time ago, I talked about it when I first got it, back when I was in rehab. But for about 2 years now, I've been wearing an orthopedic boot. Now, one of the things, dirty little secrets about diabetics. Do you know anybody that's a diabetic? Maybe you're a diabetic. You know, your feet are your masters. You know it's your feet because that's what gets you around in the world. And if you don't have feet, or if your feet aren't working right, you're definitely not going to get very far. You might have to use something like a wheelchair or walkers or things like that, or maybe you'll just be stuck in a bed, unfortunately. So it's important to protect your feet at all times. Now, if you're a diabetic, it's really good to always wear shoes. Always wear shoes. Because if you stub your toe or you step on something and you don't know it, you can end up with a wound on your foot that gets infected. Because, you know, unfortunately our feet are in the most disgusting places on the planet. Of course, now I flash to all these other disgusting places that these things go to, but that's a whole other topic, don't you think? So, anyway, I actually do follow the practice of wearing my shoes almost exclusively, and anytime I get up and move around, I'm wearing my shoes. Actually, it's really hard for me to walk on hard surfaces because my shoes have a mold in them, that a molded insert that's designed for my foot, and it's very uncomfortable to walk barefooted. But at one point, more than 2 years ago, the shoes that I had, my new shoes that I had, they ordered them wrong, they measured wrong, they ordered wrong, and unbeknownst to me, they created some wounds on my feet. And me being the, over ego person, said, oh, I can heal those wounds myself. I won't go to the wound center or the doctor about it. And then it got infected. So, 2 years later, so for the last, not quite 2 years, but probably a year and a half, I've been wearing this. And this boot, what happened is that my wound was on the top of my foot, but when they put me into what they call a Darko shoe, so a surgical shoe is what they call it, my foot would slide all around in that shoe and create a blister on the bottom of my foot, on my heel, right about here. And the blister got so big that you could probably put a golf ball in it, which is really hard to think of, and I really never took pictures of it because I didn't want to. Some people showed me pictures that they took of it, but I never took personal pictures of it. There are other pictures that I'd rather take of my personal body than my foot. So, and we'll leave you that with that imaginative thing. But, so at any rate, in the hospital they gave me this shoe, and this boot has a crow's foot. So it has like kind of like this in this part of the boot that would support my foot but not put pressure on the wound. And once I started wearing this boot all the time and never walking in bare feet, that you know, in the rehab center they said take the boot off and only wear the boot when you leave your room. But if they actually had any brains in their body, they would have told me to leave the boot on all the time, and I would have been out of the rehab in a month. But instead I was stuck there for 3 months because we couldn't get the foot to heal, and we tried all kinds of crazy things. So this is the crow's boot. Now the problem with wearing this boot for a year and a half is you lose all your muscle structure in your ankle, and then you can't balance without it. And I was doing really good walking around with this. I didn't need a walker at all. I have a rollator that you may have seen or not, I don't know. It's just a walker with wheels, but it has a seat. And I use that a lot when I'm out and about. I'm actually sitting in it right now because it puts me at a higher height than a regular chair, and it's a little more comfortable. And if I need it for balance or something, it's there for me for walking. And I have one in my car, so when I go out and about and I go places, I have some place to rest. I can sit and rest. And so it's a really a good thing. And there's a video way back somewhere about it. It's called a Dobbs rollator. It's made for bigger people, but it's very industrial because most of this is actually not part of the discussion here, but most of the rollators out there that they have available to the most people are crap. The wheels break on them, and then once the wheels break, you can't get more brakes, you know, more wheels. You know, they're not made to be repaired like everything else, you know, sold to the United States. So it's an American-made product. It's nice and sturdy, you know, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I've been wearing this boot now for 2 years. It's been modified. The straps are riveted onto the boot. So the first breakage was the strap up here. And, you know, once I wasn't in the nursing home anymore, getting it repaired was a lot harder. And I said, well, you know, I can't get into the building, but can I park in the parking lot and you can come get the boot and fix it and then, you know, bring it back out to me? He said, oh no, we can't do that. You have to come inside. So this has a bolt on it to strap the thing on it. And then I put a cap, a glue cap over the bolt so that I wouldn't stab myself in it. And then I covered it with Gorilla Tape. It actually looks pretty cool, really. And then the second one, this strap broke off, so I had to put on we had to put a bolt on that one, and that one worked out a little better. It's on the outside of the boot, so it's not as dangerous. But it's actually held up longer than it was expected to. I went to get measured for new shoes, and the technician that I saw was one of the people that designed the boots, so, you know, it was actually kind of interesting. But my foot is 100% healed. Both feet are. And I've been doing exercises for improving the strength. And they're good exercises. It's good for you. Good actually. Basically, I'll do it with my hands. You do windshield washers. You do 20 of them. And if you could put resistance to them, that'd be great. Like if, you know, someone held like a rubber band around it and keep you from doing it so that you can put some strength into your ankles. And then the other one is to do this with them 20 times. And then you go the other way 20 times. And you go up and down 20 times. And that helps a lot with building up the strength of the ankle and giving it some mobility. And then the other thing is to do the alphabet with both feet. Not at the same time, of course, unless you're really good. And I haven't gotten that good. But if you do the alphabet with pointing your toe, it helps move all the muscles in your foot at the same time. And that kind of stuff you can do all the time, anytime you want. So, you know, it's been doing the exercises now for about 4 or 5 months before the boot came up. And actually now I'm back into my shoe and walking around. I use the rollator from time to time, although today I've been walking around the house without the rollator as balance. So I mean, it's nice to have the mobility back, and it's not as exhausting. I mean, this boot here, I mean, you can see, you know, it sits up a good, your foot is a good 1.5 inches up off the ground compared to the other shoe. So you're got an inch up. So that means your hips aren't aligned, your legs aren't aligned. It's like walking in high heels. Not that I know anything about walking in high heels. Not since I was like 10. You know, you get what you do with your friends, you know. Although they do have a parade in the city nearby once a year that the men dress up in high heels and walk for some charity. This year they had to do it virtually. Everyone had to do it on a Zoom call in their living room. Yes, I bet that was really interesting. The things that happened afterwards was probably what couldn't be put on Zoom. Yeah. So I just wanted to share this little thing. I'm going to stick in some video that hopefully is on the camera, and of me walking in the boot and walking without the boot. And of course I'm also fashioning my oh gee, trying to think what it's called now. Gee. Oh, I don't know. I guess it's called a man dress. Oh, darn it! The name is floating down in my head. But actually, I find them quite comfortable to wear. Yeah. Just keep yourself healthy. If you're diabetic, keep an eye on your feet. They're very important to you. If they get infected, it could be years before you cure it. If you do it all. You could even lose. I've lost a toe. Not a whole toe, like one of the digits on my toe because of an infection in my toe, in my foot. And it just moved from place to place, and it got into the toe, and it wasn't treated fast enough because you really can't tell until it gets into the bone. Once the infection gets into the bone, they have to take the toe off. So fortunately, you know, I don't really use the toes as much as maybe some people do. I can't pick up pencils with my feet. I'm not so creative. Aspiration of being able to pick up pencils with my toes. Anyway, until next time, have fun and keep on walking, 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 walking.